Picture this: it's the dead of night in 16th century Germany. The world outside is silent, draped in the stillness of a sleeping town, but inside a small dusty study something dangerous is about to unfold. A man sits alone, hunched over ancient books and yellowing scrolls. His name Dr. Johann Faust. And tonight he's about to commit the ultimate act of rebellion. Faust isn't just any man, he's the most brilliant mind of his time. He's conquered philosophy, law, medicine, and theology. He's read every book worth reading, debated the smartest minds, chased every truth, and it's left him not fulfilled but empty, crushed, desperate. All his learning has brought him to a horrifying realization. Human knowledge, vast as it may seem, is a dead end, an elegant prison, a golden cage. The answers he craves don't live in Scripture or Aristotle's logic, so in a fit of defiance and despair he kicks over the dusty tomes, tosses the Bible aside, and does the unthinkable. He calls upon the devil himself. By candlelight Faust draws a circle on the floor, chants ancient forbidden words, and seals it all with a blasphemous curse. The air grows heavy, a presence enters the room. This is where his story truly begins. A man desperate for meaning makes a pact: 24 years of limitless knowledge, infinite pleasure, and unmatched power in exchange for an eternity of torment. This is the tale of a scholar who sought immortality and instead became a monster. Before we dive deeper into this chilling legend, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. It's incredible how we can come together across time zones and continents to explore these forgotten shadows of history. And hey, if you enjoy these deep dives into dark legends and historical truths, consider subscribing. There are many more secrets still buried in the past, and we've only just begun to truly understand the story of Dr. Faust. We need to understand the world that shaped him. He lived in a time of immense transformation, a world caught between two ages. The medieval order built on faith, tradition, and the all-encompassing authority of the church was crumbling. In its place something new was rising. The Renaissance. It was an age of rebirth, of humanism, of science and exploration. Leonardo da Vinci was mapping the human body with surgical precision. Copernicus was challenging the very structure of the cosmos. Columbus had opened the gates to entirely new worlds. The spirit of the age said, there are no limits to what man can achieve. The individual, not God, was now the center of the universe, and Dr. Faust's tea was the perfect symbol of this new kind of man, a Renaissance scholar burning with ambition. But at the same time he was haunted by the old world, the medieval fear of eternal damnation. He stood with one foot in each age, reaching for the stars, with one hand clutching a crucifix in the other. That internal war between the insatiable desire for knowledge and the paralyzing fear of divine punishment is what drove him to make his unholy bargain. In many ways the legend of Faust is the legend of the Renaissance itself. It's a warning about what happens when humanity's reach exceeds its grasp. Now here's the twist: while Fa has become a myth, the story actually began with a real person in the early 1500s. Historical records speak of a man named Johann Georg Faust. He was a traveling alchemist, astrologer, and magician, part scholar, part showman. He had legitimate degrees from respected universities, but also a flair for outrageous claims. He reportedly boasted that he could perform all the miracles of Christ, that if the works of Plato and Aristotle Vanished he could recreate them from memory just like the biblical Ezra. Unsurprisingly the church branded him a heretic, accusing him of consorting with demons. Academics dismissed him as a fraud, but to ordinary people he was terrifying and magnetic, a man who might just have discovered forbidden knowledge. He died around 1541. And his death, it was horrifying. According to one account, his body was found hideously twisted as if it had been crushed from the inside out. Some whispered that his demonic servant had finally come to claim what was promised. From this sliver of truth a legend exploded. Within a few decades cheap pamphlets called Faust books began to spread. They gathered all the wild stories and dark rumors about the man, and in 1587 the first full biography appeared, the History of Dr. Johann Faustus. That book locked the legend into place. It told of a brilliant scholar, disappointed by the limits of human knowledge, who summoned a demon named Mephistopheles and made a terrible deal. Now imagine Faust in his study, surrounded by the greatest writings of human history. He's read them all and they've left him cold. Theology just empty rules. Medicine can't conquer death. Law doesn't guarantee justice. Philosophy an endless circle. What he wants is something greater, true power, a glimpse into what binds the universe together at its core. And so he turns to the dark arts. He draws the magic circle. He chants the spells. The temperature drops. Candles flicker, and then a shadow steps forward from the darkness. It's Mephistopheles. Not a snarling beast, but a poised and eloquent man. He speaks like a nobleman. Not a monster. He's cool, logical, and dangerous in a different way, because his weapon is temptation. Faust lays out his terms: 24 years. For 24 years Mephistopheles will serve him anything he wants: wealth, pleasure, forbidden knowledge, even dominion over kings. But after those 24 years Faust's soul will belong to hell. Mephistopheles, in a rare moment of honesty, tries to warn him. In Christopher Marlowe's classic play Dr. Faustus there's a chilling exchange. Faustus asks, "How can you stand to be out of hell?" Mephistopheles replies, "Why, this is hell, nor am I out of it." Hell, he explains, isn't a place. It's a condition, the eternal absence of God, a torment you carry with you. Faust laughs it off. He's a man of science. After all, hell is just a myth, a fable for children. He can't believe in what he can't see. And so the deal is struck, but there's a strange twist to finalize the pact. Faust must sign in his own blood. When he cuts his arm, the blood congeals. It refuses to flow, as if his own body is resisting the horror he's about to commit. Mephistopheles has to bring hot coals to warm the blood. Faust presses the pen to parchment. And then a final warning: the words homo fugu, Latin for man, flee mysteriously, appear on his skin. He ignores it. The contract is signed. The clock has begun to tick for the next 24 years. Faust lives as no man has ever lived. He becomes a legend, traveling the world in splendor. His every wish is granted. In an instant he rides a chariot drawn by dragons, crosses oceans and eras, bends kings to his will, and unlocks secrets that ordinary mortals can only dream of. And yet none of it satisfies him. This scholar, who once yearned to unravel the mysteries of the cosmos, now spends his power on cheap parlor tricks. His lofty ambitions dissolve into silly games and meaningless indulgences. He visits the Pope in Rome cloaked in invisibility, and slaps him during a banquet, stealing food from his plate. Like a mischievous ghost at the court of the Holy Roman Emperor, he's asked to Summon the spirit of Alexander the Great. He does it with flair and even adds a historically accurate mold to prove the ghost is real. At first people are a ruck. Faust becomes Europe's most famous entertainer, dazzling the courts with impossible feats. He conjures gold from thin air. He hosts feasts made of illusions. He humiliates skeptics with magical revenge. When a knight mocks his powers, Faust causes a pair of antlers to sprout from the man's head. When a greedy horse trader cheats him, Faust sells him a magnificent horse that turns into hay the moment it touches water. These are the tricks of a jester, not a man who holds the secrets of the universe. He could have unlocked the meaning of life. Instead he wastes his time summoning ghosts and pulling pranks. But then comes his final, most haunting request. As the end draws near, Faust is overcome by despair. He's tasted every pleasure and learned every secret, but none of it has filled the void within him. So he asks for one last comfort, one final illusion. He wants to see Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman in all of history, the face that, as legend says, launched 1,000 ships. Mephistopheles obliges. Helen appears before him, a vision of impossible beauty, radiant and silent. In that moment Faust delivers his most famous lines, words that echo with the tragic grandeur of the Renaissance. Spirit. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burnt the topless towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. He kisses the ghost. But it is just that, a ghost, a shadow. She offers no warmth, no life, just a fleeting illusion of love, of meaning. He has traded his soul for this, a handful of dreams. His final years are filled with growing dread. The clock is ticking louder now. His mind returns again and again to the price he agreed to pay. Throughout the story Faust is haunted not just by Mephistopheles but by his own conscience. Two angels, one good and one evil, appear to him over and over again. The good angel pleads with him to repent, to turn back, that it's never too late. The bad angel whispers that the time for forgiveness has passed, that he's already damned. This struggle, the pull between hope and despair, is the heart of the Faust legend. Can a man who knowingly sold his soul be saved? There are moments where Faust comes close. In moments of crushing guilt he cries out to Christ. He begs for mercy, but each time Mephistopheles returns, pulling him back with threats, distractions or false comfort. One moment stands out. Faust asks Mephistopheles a question, a simple one. Who made the world? And Mephistopheles refuses to answer. He can't. As a demon he is forbidden from speaking the name of God. That silence hits Faust like a hammer. In that instant he understands the true horror. All the knowledge he's been given is hollow, it's incomplete. He knows the workings of the universe, but not the source of its meaning. He has seen the mechanism but not the maker. That realization shakes him, but the moment passes. The bad angel returns. It's too late, it whispers, you're already lost. What traps Faust isn't just his deal with the devil, it's his pride. He is too proud to accept faith, too intellectual to surrender. He wants to be in control, to earn his salvation through reason, not to receive it through grace. He's stuck in a paradox. Too smart to believe in blind faith, but not wise enough to see that his intellect is killing him. He believes he's still the master of his fate, even though he signed that fate away. As the 24th year comes to its final day, Faust begins to fall apart. All the confidence, the arrogance, the laughter, it's gone. He is a man terrified. He calls for his students, young scholars who once Admired him he confesses everything the pact the power the price they are. Horrified they offer to stay with him to pray with him but Faust insists this is his burden to bear alone the final hour approaches midnight draws near the room is still and then Faust begins to speak a final soliloquy a desperate broken cry to the heavens he pleads with the universe stand still you ever moving spheres of heaven that time may cease and midnight never come. He begs time to stop the sun to rise. Again anything to delay the inevitable. He offers to destroy his books the very symbols of the knowledge that led him to ruin he tries to strike a new bargain. With God let Faustus live in hell a 1,000 years or 100,000 and at last be saved. He's willing to suffer anything if only he can avoid being damned forever but time doesn't listen the clock keeps ticking he turns on his parents cursing them for giving him life he wishes he had been born an animal without a soul. So he could simply vanish at death he stares into the night sky and cries for mercy he sees in the stars the blood of Christ the redemption he has rejected. But it's too far too late as the clock strikes 12 the doors of the study fly. Open thunder cracks the stench of sulfur. Floods the room voices inhuman and cruel. Echo in the darkness Faust screams ah. Mephistopheles. And then silence. The next morning his students return the house is quiet they step cautiously into the study what they find chills them to the bone the room is a scene of carnage. The walls are smeared with blood and eye is on the floor teeth are scattered in a corner it looks as if the very forces of hell tore a man to pieces his body is found outside thrown onto a dung heap. His neck broken his limbs twisted barely human anymore the brilliant Dr. Faust. The man who tried to become a god has been reduced to ruin. The scientist who sought immortality has been annihilated. The horrifying death of Dr. Faust was meant to send a message of brutal warning to all the ambitious minds of the Renaissance. The Church used his story as a cautionary tale. This is what happens when man defies God. When human knowledge is placed above divine truth when pride outweighs faith. Faust they said was not a hero he was a sinner a monster a fool who reached too far and paid the ultimate price but here's the thing tyrants and theologians have never truly understood the human spirit. Because instead of frightening people into submission the story of Faust inspired them. Faust became a new kind of hero not a saint not a sinner but something in between a tragic overreacher. A man who dared to challenge the boundaries of the world even if it destroyed him in the hands of Christopher Marlowe. Faust became a symbol of the Renaissance itself a man whose hunger for knowledge and experience was both his greatest virtue and his fatal flaw. 2 centuries later the legend would be reborn in the hands of the great German writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Goethe's Faust is not the story of a damned man but a striving one in Goethe's version. Faust is still deeply flawed. He still makes his pact with Mephistopheles. He still commits terrible sins including the tragic seduction and ruin of an innocent girl named Gretchen. But the tone shifts dramatically. Goethe doesn't see Faust as a monster. He sees him as a seeker a man who refuses to be satisfied with comfort or certainty a soul that is constantly in motion and that according to Goethe is what saves him at the end of Goethe's epic when the devils come to claim Faust's soul angels intervene. They descend from heaven surround the scene and lift him up not because he was perfect but because he never stopped Striving. One angel declares. He who strives on and lives to strive can earn redemption still. It's a radical reimagining in Goethe's version. The very restlessness that once doomed Fa now becomes his salvation. It reflects a modern world, our world, that has come to value ambition, curiosity, and the relentless pursuit of progress. We live in many ways in a Foian age. We split the atom, we decode the human genome, we build machines that think and rockets that reach for the stars. We explore every frontier, scientific, spiritual, technological. We seek to overcome even death itself. The quest for longevity, the rise of AI, the dream of digital consciousness, these are the new pacts we flirt with. Like Fausts, we stand in our studies, surrounded by the accumulated knowledge of centuries, and still feel that it's not enough. Like Faust, we are tempted to trade everything for more time, more power, more life, and like Fa, we are haunted by the same questions. How much knowledge is too much? At what point does the pursuit of power lead us to lose our humanity? Is there a line we shouldn't cross, or is our hunger to understand and control the universe the very thing that defines us? The story of Fa has survived for over 500 years because it is not just a horror story, it is a mirror. It reflects our deepest ambitions and our darkest fears. It shows us what happens when brilliance turns to arrogance, when progress ignores morality, when curiosity becomes obsession. But it also reminds us that even in our flaws, even in our mistakes, there may still be something noble, something worth saving. So whether you see Faust as a cautionary tale or as a tragic hero, whether you believe he was damned or redeemed, the story still speaks to us. It asks us to look inward, to ask, what are we willing to sacrifice for the things we crave, and more importantly, is it worth the cost? If this story has made you think, if it stirred something in you, I invite you to subscribe. There are more tales like this to come. Stories from the edge of history and myth, stories of ambition, ruin, redemption, and the thin line that separates them. And remember, the devil always keeps his promises. But the question is, do we really want what we're asking?